There's a hamster under here.
Love hamster power.
Right, I think that's going. Okay, so Michael Frohlich,
Hello.
you were recently promoted to CEO of EMEA for Ogilvy PR. Can you tell me a little bit about how your day-to-day work has changed?
Yeah, the biggest change is about going from running a team of over 100 people and being very hands-on and understanding what's going on with all the staff, all the clients, every minute of every day, to now being responsible for a region of very capable managing directors, PR directors, CEOs of businesses, and so I don't have that same level of input and control. So it's a very different style of management. And I've always run agencies. That's what I've done. That's my experience before Ogilvy. So this is a very different experience for me. And it's a lot more about influence and support rather than forward leadership.
Do you then, to a degree, have to compromise some of the very macro control that you have?
I wouldn't say it's compromise. I think it's just release. I think you just have to allow the markets to do what they feel is right. I don't understand the nuances. I don't understand the cultural nuances and the economic and the social nuances of every country, and therefore the clients and therefore the staff. So I have to trust, and I do trust, the leadership in market. What my job is to galvanise and align all markets, kind of bring them together to make us stronger, to really ultimately go for the pitches, the new business and the clients that want multi-market activations.
Okay. So you took over, I believe, from Stuart, who is now global CEO.
Sorry, Stuart, don't know who he is. Yeah, no, I've never met him, yeah.
He's your understudy.
Oh, yes. That's Stuart, yes. Yeah. I know.
Tell me a little bit about working with him. What's he like as a character? What does he bring to the Ogilvy Free?
Well, that's a question. No, I'm very fortunate. Stuart and I worked together. We sat next to each other when he was EMEA and I was London for three and a half years. So okay. I think we got to know each other quite well and built a very good working relationship. And I think we have very complementary skills. We're very different people. At the very base level, he's very intelligent and I'm not. So I'm kind of the gorilla who does things and he's the clever one who thinks about them. And that really works. That worked for us when I was running London, and I said it's him, EMEA, and now he's obviously in New York, I'm based in London, but we still work very closely together. And I think the team that he now has at a global level, we are all very complementary. So Scott in Asia, Pat, who's the CEO over there, and others, we are all very, very complementary and bring a very different element and focus to the kind of that global team.
So talking about that kind of integration then at that level, you said yesterday you were presenting in the Dubai office and you mentioned that currently the MENA area makes up around 18% of revenue. And you described that as very important. So what I want to know is how can a region like that, or an area like that, actually begin to feel more important to the wider story? How do we regionalize ourselves? Because when you're in the office day to day, you might not always feel that attachment. So how do you go about doing that? How do we bring ourselves together?
Yeah, and it's not just you guys. So I have one of the best jobs in the world now because I get to travel all around the region and everyone is lovely and very hospitable. And my job is behind the scenes quite challenging. But in front of the scenes, if you like, is a great job because I'm an ambassador. And every country, every market, every region that makes up our overall Europe, Middle East, African region is important. But my role really is to help bring them together and make them feel and understand the importance. Every part is important. Now, for the MENA region, it's particularly important because it's such a big chunk. 18% of our revenue is big, and also it's a growth opportunity. So not only new markets in the MENA region to open, but I think there's a huge amount of revenue growth opportunity in the region. But how do we create a more integrated aligned feel across the whole of Europe, Middle East and Africa? Sada and I joke, we've worked together now for about 5 years, and we used to sit on calls every month, about 20, 25 people for an hour, hour and a half, and that was the only way that we really communicated as a region. And we spent that time on the call listening to somebody talk about something that no one really cared about. And and actually, the only way that we're going to feel more and more as a cohesed region is to work with clients together. So there are more and more clients that we have to. So that there are more and more clients that we have individually across the region. A rather large search engine, for example. And what we need to do is to tie them together more.
Yes.
And operate as Ogilvy PR to them rather than just the UK and Turkey and South Africa and Dubai they have to work on the same client. No, what we can add more value to the client is if we start to link it all together. And then on the other side, there are big global clients that we're now winning across the region that want that more and more. So the only way to really make the network work is to work together on clients. You pitch together, you win together, you work together. That's how the true value and power of the network is going to come across.
I suppose individual projects are a good way to kind of practice that as well. Take New Suez Canal, for example.
Oh, completely. So that was a massive global effort. I mean, absolutely run out of this region. And Sada and others, I don't think having sleep for 3 months through it. But that created the opportunity for lots of officers and people to work together and understand each other more as well. So of course it's not just about learning, it's not just about not working together is a problem, but also it's not understanding each other. So the projects are great because they get us working together, but then they get the people to learn about each other and learn how to treat each other. Working at a global level, international level, is very, very different than working at a local level. And I think you don't know that until you've done it. And then you start to understand the difference between cultures, dialects and ways of working are vastly different. And that should be embraced. So I'm not suggesting that we become like every other network, PR network in the world, which is you can walk into any of their offices around the world and you know it's them because it's the same, exactly the same branding, exactly the same processes and things. I actually love the fact that we are a collection of very different agencies that really understand our local markets and have that kind of depth and passion for the local knowledge, but have the flexibility and agility to work together.
Yeah. So then bringing it back down to an office by office level, we spoke a lot yesterday about, and we continue to speak about integration of the new, the media moving into the digital sphere and social playing such a big part in the vehicle of distributing news or distributing, content. And we talked about the old traditional models of team by team people and trying now to empower people within offices who are used to a very traditional way of working to find new skills within their arsenal already. I mean, you talked a lot about the importance of talent retention in the network, as opposed to going out and just bringing in new people with new skills on their CV. How do you, in a day-to-day environment where people are just so overloaded with the work they already do, how do we get them to kind of find those new skills within them? How do we kind of unleash those assets?
So I think the key is what we're not saying, and when I talk about this, I'm not suggesting or mandating that people need to learn new stuff, that people need to take a night course, and what you know is not good enough and you need to find different things.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about kind of simply being brave enough for yourself to just admit and hold your hand up and go, actually I'm interested in something else, and I'm interested in that, either that country or that region or social or content or corporate rather than consumer, whatever it might be, or that client, or actually I really, really, really would love to work in Google. It's like my dream. And I think it's about us and our employees being brave enough to be able to say that, and then for our leadership to be able to embrace that and help guide them and help facilitate those moves and those that agility. So if we can create and further create and motivate an environment of people who want to grab that and follow their dream and be able to fulfill their career, their personal career developments, that will make us a much stronger business. And we're already doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we already do it a lot, and there are multiple circumstances where we have absolutely facilitated new paths, new skill sets, and help people develop that. But I want it to be more. I just think it's the way that we're going, it's the way the industry is going, and also it's the way that kind of the younger workforce want to act, to be treated.
So then the next phase from that is we can come up with all these fancy new ways to approach communications and discuss these kind of things, but a lot of the time we will hear, in my market, clients don't do things that way, and where we work, clients don't do things that way. And you said yourself, you don't believe in that.
Yep.
So how do you take these new approaches to clients with things that perhaps they've never seen before?
So, of course I do believe it. I mean, I believe that happens because, of course it does, because there was me saying that I listen to everything the markets tell me because I don't understand their local markets. So obviously if they tell me that their clients aren't ready for it or don't understand it, I do believe it. What I don't believe is that if you show a client, any client, what's possible, that they won't want a bit of it. Now, they might not be ready for it, they might not have the resource to do it, they might not have the money to do it, but I think our job as one of the number one agencies, leading agencies in the world, with the leading brand name, the most famous brand name in the marketing comms world, above our door, it's our responsibility and our gift to be able to lead clients and tell them what's coming next. So if you're in a market that only wants a press release because they just don't want anything more, we have the opportunity, we have the swagger to be able to tell our clients, to show them what's possible, what's coming, what have we done in other countries, what have we done globally, what's another big brand doing in a different alternative market, and the ROI that they got from that. And I guarantee you that those clients will sit there and go, yeah, I want that. They may not be able to have it now, fine, but they'll want it in the future. At some point they will be ready. And I've experienced this. I've spent a lot of time in Africa over the recent years, and these are the conversations that we're constantly having. And no, a lot of the companies that we talk to, they're not ready yet. They still just need the basic.
Yeah.
They want all the bigger transformational work, the modern comm stuff. They're just not quite ready yet, but they will be. And we know that when they're ready, they will absolutely use us, because we're the ones who've been holding their hands through this journey. The world is moving. There is not one country that in some way, shape or form isn't moving forward. And just some may take longer than others. But if we can position ourselves and show them what's possible, they will then come to us when they're ready. And that's the key. This is a long journey. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. It's really happening. But it's... wow. But it is. It's the longest journey in the world. We'll just keep on going. Ogilvy is always going to be there. We're always going to be doing what we do. So if it takes 10 years for a client to come around and do kind of modern transformational communications, that's fine. But we want to ensure that they use us.
So at the very least, start the conversation.
Absolutely.
Be the instigator.
Absolutely. And we have all the armoury. So Leandra, who's the kind of development manager across our region, so she has all the information. Crowdbase has all the information on it. Case study videos, written case studies. So lots of work that we've done in different countries around the region that show what is possible and what kind of a new way of thinking can lead to. Use it, take it, it's there, it's ours. It's all of our work. Show clients that.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you one more question. It's a personal question. When I stepped into Ogilvy last year, from working in journalism, one of the troubles I had was trying to work out exactly the balance between learning absolutely everything about the business without falling into business ways, on the same time trying to use my skills to help not redefine things, but just kind of shake things up slightly in the position I was put into. But one of the troubles I had was really trying to find out where my skills would be beneficial.
Yeah.
Now, you studied political economics, so we've got a really diverse background educationally, not just culturally, educationally. It's not a team full of people who have done comms and media in universities. So my question would be, when did you first realise that the skills you'd acquired from that kind of background education could be so impactful in this industry?
Yeah, I'm smiling and laughing. I'm smiling and laughing because those skills never did play a part in any way whatsoever. I think so. I don't look at people's qualifications. I don't care. And in fact, controversially, maybe, I think people who've done PR degrees and courses actually are harder to work with because they are trained in the theory and therefore are trained to think that they understand how it works, and they don't at all in any way. And I've just written the consumer PR chapter of one of the university handbooks that's used all around the world in those courses. So it's ironic that I don't actually put much hope and sort of stature in that. But it'll be published soon, so buy a copy.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Shameless
I can't remember
PR
what the
there.
book's called. It's terrible. I'll be in Amazon in a couple of weeks, and just look for the name. No,
There's a link coming up on the screen there.
yeah, absolutely. But for me, I think one of the beauties, one of the most interesting things about PR communications and what we do, it's about the type of person. So I love the fact that you have such a diverse skill set of people, because that's what we need. Clients need solutions to their communications, marketing, reputational problems. It takes all sorts. It takes different skills, different types of people to be able to solve that. And the more diversity we have, the easier we'll be able to put those resources to best use for clients, which is why one of the important things to me is about this resource agility. So when a client problem or brief comes through the door, it's about looking at who is best suited, not who sits in the right team or the right structure or the right part of the P&L, but who in our building has the right disposition, the right skill set, the right talent, the right chemistry to be able to help that client. And so often when I'm hiring new types of people for new roles, or new roles as we create them, I never really know what the job description is. Talent management hate that because they always want a really clear job description. And I never really know what we're recruiting for, but I know when I find it, I'll know when I find that person. And I think that's what makes us so special, actually, in the industry we're in. So you joining with your journalist background, that, I guess, would have been a massive part of you joining. But there's also, you have a certain something about you which is very Ogilvy. I don't know what that is because I don't know what the Ogilvy something is, but you know when you see it. And I think that's key for us. That's kind of a key to hiring and bringing people in, and why diversity is so important.
Wonderful. So one final quick question for you. Speaking of books, and don't say your book when I ask you this question. What is your Bible? What is your go-to scripture?
I'd say the Bible. No, I wouldn't at all. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. I don't have one. I don't have one. So here, newsflash, controversial. I don't really read. I can't read. No, I can read. But I don't actually. I don't really have any go-to book. I buy a lot of books with the intention of reading them.
They look good.
And they look good. I've got a huge bookshelf at home full of books that I've never read. That could be a book, books I've never read, and it could actually be a list of books that I've never read. And I have The Art of War in my bag at the moment, which is very weird to be.
Is that just
that
for when you
with me.
take things out at security and airports and stuff?
Yeah,
to look really
sure,
special.
yeah, really,
I'm
really
into this
intelligent.
at the moment.
Yeah, totally.
No bookmark to be found.
No, and I got given it. It's because I got given it last week, or the week before, And I just always assumed that it was this massive book, like 20,000 pages, and it's like a little pamphlet. So that's my kind of book.
Nice, yeah, concise.
And it's totally concise, and it's just like sentence after sentence. I've been carrying it around for 2 weeks, I've still not read it. And I've spent a lot of time on planes in the last 2 weeks. So the reality is I don't actually have a go-to book. I think the way that I personally learn and absorb is by seeing the work and meeting people and talking to people, and that's kind of the way that I do it. There are loads of brilliant books out there. I just, as I said, I'm not a reader.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, I won't keep you any more time. Michael, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Is that all right? Except for being quite long. That's because I talk a lot. It's because you ask stupid questions.
I do, I ask terrible questions.
Yeah. Okay, good. Done.
Perfect.